Well, one of the victims of a gang rape in Limpopo has spoken exclusively to Newzroom Afrika, describing the attackers as merciless. 4 women were raped at a funeral parlor in the province over the weekend, while 7 other staff members were assaulted. Newzroom Afrika's Zikhona is tracking the story for us. And Zikhona, as I was saying, you've been speaking exclusively to one of the women who were attacked. What has she told you?
Timothy, I just want to start by saying we were met by someone who was very warm, someone who was in deep pain, but at the same time wanted to share her story. She repeatedly said in the interview that she wants to talk, that she needs counseling, and it will take her a very long time to recover from this ordeal. The details of exactly what she went through are very gruesome and graphic, and she says she is still having sleepless nights after what happened. Even as we were leaving, she asked us to stay a little bit longer because she wanted to talk and she wanted to laugh. She says no one has really asked her how she's feeling or how she's coping with what happened. If I can just remind our viewers, over the weekend on Saturday night at a funeral parlor just a few meters behind me, armed men entered a funeral parlor and found 11 employees there. 4 women that were there were raped by these attackers, and so they are just recovering. Social workers have been on the ground from yesterday, if I understand, just speaking to staff at the funeral parlor, but also trying to get the statements from these very traumatized victims of this attack. The men were beaten up, the women were raped, so it will take them a very long time to recover from this. But let's just take a listen to what one of the survivors of that horrific ordeal had to say to us. And I must remind our viewers that some of the details that came out of this interview are absolutely heartbreaking and very graphic.
Kantikana kwandela ke abo o reipa o mong ka mo rumuneng ya basadi ya banna yena e sale ba mokhotogisha ba no ya ba boella ba ya ka gararo.
So in that sound clip, she talks about how there was a gun pointed to her head and how she was told to take off her clothes. She repeatedly spoke about at any point during the time at which the workers were held hostage, there was always a gun to her head. She feared for her life. She spoke in the interview at length about how she thought she would never make it out of that ordeal alive. The workers were kept inside or held hostage by the attackers from between 9 p.m. on Saturday and only released at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. So you can understand the amount of time, 5 hours, that they sat through or had to go through such a horrific ordeal. So as it stands, police are yet to make any arrests in this case. They are in search of 6 suspects in connection with this crime, and we've seen several political parties and civil organization groups releasing statements condemning what has happened here.
Yeah, the condemnations, Zikhona, but what's actually been done to assist these women and their male colleagues who've suffered such a traumatic ordeal?
In fact, yesterday we spoke to one of the colleagues, Benny Matsidi, who said he cannot just be at home. He says when he is at home, he's forever replaying what he went through in his head. We've just come from the funeral parlor. Again today, he's at work. This woman that we spoke to, 47 years old, says she's struggling to sleep. She says yesterday she had to go see a gynecologist, a specialist gynecologist, to help her through the injuries of that she sustained from this ordeal. We know that she's struggling to walk currently following what happened. So there's a lot of therapy that is needed there, just physically and also mentally. She continuously spoke about how she needs counseling. So certainly there needs to be more work on the ground. The Social Development Department was here yesterday, but there is a call from workers that they need more counseling to help them get through this. Interestingly, both the people who have survived it that we spoke to say the attackers knew their names. They went there and they knew which rooms people slept at the residence there at the funeral parlor. We know this is a residence that the employees would use if they have an early morning funeral to go to in the morning. Some of them live in villages that are too far from the funeral parlor itself. So the survivors say the people who went there and attacked them knew their names and called them out by name.
Thank you very much for that, Zikhona, reporting on a harrowing story, the gang rape of women employed at a funeral parlor in Limpopo. Their male colleagues also attacked. Apologies, of course, for those of you who may be yourself survivors of sexual violence for some of that rather triggering detail, graphic detail given in an exclusive account by one of the women to Zikhona describing what happened during that attack.